Now, according to Dorcas Mwande, the daughter of Julius Wambua, a man who has been in jail for 10 years for a crime he did not commit, her mother used money in order to get her dad jailed. In other words, policemen and possibly lawyers were bribed so that this plan works. Also, according to Dorcas, her uncle was involved. Her uncle, who is a policeman, married to her auntie. And Dorcas says he too parted with money. And remember, the whole idea was to get Bwana Julius Wambua out of the way so that the shamba, the land, could be sold. The long and short of what I'm trying to say is that if this matter is finally investigated, and I believe it will be, there are very many people who will have to answer for this very evil thing they did to their fellow human being. Now, according to Bwana Julius Wambua, he asked the judge if it was possible for a DNA test to be done so that they get to the truth of this matter. He says the response he received was that a DNA test is very expensive. And so he asked, how much will it cost? And he was told 60,000 Kenya shillings. That is $60. And Bwana Wambua offered to pay for the DNA test himself. He said he had the money to pay for it so that the truth could be established. He says that he was told the time for a DNA test had passed, which is a very strange response, because what justice system has deadlines as to when a person who is accused can present new evidence or simply ask for a DNA test. Now, as I make this video, Bwana Julius Wambua is still behind bars. He's still at Kamiti maximum security prison. And we can only wonder what kind of defense lawyer he had that he couldn't get a simple DNA test done to prove his innocence. But then, if we are to be brutally honest, this kind of things happen in Kenya all the time. And one of the main problems seems to be the fact that what policemen tell courts is usually taken as gospel truth by most of our judges and magistrates. Precisely what used to happen during the colonial rule, when Kenya was not independent. You'd have a Mzungu cop in court, and whatever evidence he gave the Mzungu judge was gospel truth. The African native was guilty. Most Kenyans will have heard of another case involving a former OCS at Ruaraka police station, Bwana Nahashon Mutua, who has been sentenced to hang for the murder of an inmate, a man who was called Martin Koome Manyara. And then what did he do? He framed another suspect for that murder. And the other suspect was in fact convicted. Obviously, it was very easy for this OCS, Bwana Mutua, to fabricate all this evidence against a very innocent suspect. Why? Because he's a policeman. And whatever the police says in court, the magistrate swallows hook, line, and sinker. Law enforcement officers must be right, and they're given the benefit of the doubt, irrespective of the evidence. And by the way, this same evidence is fabricated by the same policeman. Now, this thing becomes even much more disturbing when you realize that judges and magistrates in our country have been accused of being corrupt in the past. That means they receive money, usually through a lawyer, in order to rule on a case in a certain direction, the direction where the money wants the case to be ruled. And so, it is not hard to imagine a situation whereby judges and magistrates are quick to convict, so that other people appearing before them and realizing what has happened to the other suspects before them, will be quicker to remove bribes, so that their ruling goes their way. And so what we have ended up with in Kenya is a system not ruled by justice, but ruled by money. In the case of Julius Wambua, according to his daughter, the money was for him to be convicted, found guilty. And found guilty he was. Now, of course, this is only one side of the story. It is possible that Bwana Julius Wambua did something in his marriage that made his wife very angry, and his wife wanted to find a way to revenge against her husband or her former husband. That is very possible. But the question is, why do we have a justice system that made it so easy for her to do this evil thing against another human being? In Kenya, the public really fear policemen. And the story of Bwana Julius Wambua should clearly tell us why Kenyans fear policemen so much. A policeman can really mess up your life. Even the case of Bwana Nahashon Mutua, the former CS of Ruaraka, who framed a suspect for a murder he himself had committed. That clearly tells us a policeman in Kenya can do virtually anything to really mess up your life. Now, Bwana Julius Wambua has forgiven his daughter. In fact, there was a very tearful reunion in that Citizen TV program. Amazing to watch. Wambua's daughter, Dorcas Mwende, said that her conscience had really disturbed her over the years. She was a minor then, but she still knew, and it nagged her, that she had told lies in court. It is our hope and prayer on this channel that Bwana Julius Wambua will soon be free, and that all those involved in the plot against him will face justice, clean justice, where there's no money involved and where there are no corrupt policemen who want to have their way involved. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.